This is the plaintiff, Marilyn O'Neill. She says she rented an apartment from the defendant, and on the move-in day with her movers standing there ready to unload the truck, no one answered the door to let her in and give her the keys. She texted the defendant, and the woman responded saying she could no longer rent the place to her. Huh? She had to get a storage room. She was homeless, and this woman owes her $5,000. That's why she's suing. This is the defendant, Laura Millard. She says the plaintiff called her after agreeing to take the apartment and told her she didn't have the money. So she told her to call when she did. Owe her $5,000? Come on. She's accused of rotten renting. The defendant has filed a countersuit for $5,000 for mental anguish and lost time from work.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff says she showed up at the front door of the defendant's apartment building, all ready to move in with all her stuff. And she was told, get out of here, you ain't moving in. But the defendant says she tried calling the plaintiff to tell her the deal was off, but she never answered the phone or the messages she left. It's the case of you're a real double-crosser.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Okay. Ms. O'Neill, tell me what happened.
Okay, I placed an ad and for an apartment, and the defendant called me, contacted me to say that she has an apartment. My son wanted to view it in Nassau County. I was residing in New Jersey. He said it looks good. On May 30th, I drove from New Jersey to Nassau County to Massapequa to view it and accepted the apartment. We had several text messages in between.
That was on what date?
On May 30th.
Okay. And what day were you going to take it?
As of June 30th.
Do you get a lease?
No, the defendant said, well, once you move in, why don't we go through paperwork and we'll talk about that if you want.
Why was there no lease, Ms. Millard?
Because I was not even going to give a lease. It was going to be on a month-to-month. I never discussed a lease.
Okay. What exactly was this? A room in your house?
It was 2 rooms upstairs in my home.
Okay. And according to Ms. O'Neill, you guys had verbally agreed on everything. And Ms. O'Neill, you actually had the moving truck with all your items in front of the apartment. And what happens?
I received a text. I texted the defendant, and she said, I can't talk right now. Then she texted me to say that she had to renege on the apartment. I never received an actual reason as to why. I was in shock. The movers were upset. I had to put everything into storage. And during
You ended up putting the stuff in storage, like the movers themselves have storage, and you ended up putting the stuff in storage there, correct? Yes. So what'd you do? What did you do?
After that, I was so stunned. I could not believe what occurred because we had agreed. And I went to a hotel. I called my son. I said, go to a hotel, put everything in storage. And we took it day by day, thinking something will be worked out here. Nothing was ever worked out at all.
Okay. Well, where are you living now?
Right now, I am staying with a friend in Mineola.
Okay. So did you ever get an apartment?
No, I have tried numerous applications. I have. The problem is either I have too much income for the affordable or I don't have enough.
Yeah. All right, Ms. Millard, why don't you explain to me how someone can have a moving truck filled with all of their items, and then you cowardly send them a text saying, I can't talk right now, but I'm reneging on our deal. Tell me about that.
Well, that's not exactly true, Your Honor. I did try and get in touch with Miss O'Neill several times, even on the day that she was supposed to move in, and I started at 7:45 in the morning calling her, but she changed her phone number, and she never, ever gave me the new phone number.
Wait, but just a second. Hold on. Why is it that on June 30th, the day she's supposed to move in, you text her, make sure the movers use masks? She's got $1,750 in movers costs. She's standing there in front of your door, and what you say to her, She texts you on June 10th. June 30th is definite. I got the moving company. My phone crashed waiting for a new one. You can message me back or I will call you later. So all these calls you're talking about, she put you on notice that she couldn't do that. You say, okay, great. Then on June 19th, can you text me? That's true. Can you text me when you leave New Jersey? On June 19th, what's happening? That you say, can you text me when you leave New Jersey so that I can be there when you, you're telling her to text her, and she answers you on June 19th, can I call you at noon? And you say yes. Then you say to her on June 30th, what time will you be leaving New Jersey? Not, hey, why didn't you call me back? So you guys must have talked. And then you say to her on June 30th at 8:08 in the morning, what time will you be leaving New Jersey? Please make sure
She never got those texts, Your Honor. She never got
it doesn't matter. Don't you see what I'm pointing out? Your plan at 8:08 on move-in day was not don't move. Your plan was make sure the movers wear masks. That's your plan. Inquiring minds want to know what happened between 8:08 and when she texts you, movers left here for 20 minutes. And you say at 12:38, I've been trying to call you. There's a problem at the house and I have to renege on the apartment. I'm so sorry. Sorry, I can't talk right now. What happened between 8:08 and 12:38 that made you change your mind?
My neighbor came out and said, Laura, you cannot rent any rooms in your house. The town regulations are the only permit you can get is a mother-daughter permit, which only would allow a related person.
So there's no such thing as roommates in your town? Just a second. There's no such thing as roommates.
No, according to the
Well, that's bizarre. But I don't really care. That's a you problem. That's not a Ms. O'Neill problem.
Okay.
If that's the case and that's your reason, then you should have looked into that before renting it out to her verbally.
You're correct.
All right. But who do you think's going to eat $1,750 in movers? I mean, the lady's there with a moving truck. You think she's going to be out $1,750 in movers? I mean, come on, Ms. Millard. You know? All right, so let me talk to you, Ms. O'Neill, because according to you, your life is over. Your life is over now. You're 76, you can't find anywhere to live, and your life is over. That's ridiculous. Your life is not over, okay? You look great, you look healthy, you got 2 sons living in the community where you want to live. Your life's not over. You end up getting a hotel room instead of finding a different place to live or getting an Airbnb temporarily, which would have been a lot cheaper than the hotel room. You're suing for the hotel room. You're suing for storage, but not 1 month of storage, which, by the way, was free because you used the moving company storage. You're suing for 3 months of storage. Like, how long does it take a person to get an apartment? You've chosen not to get an apartment because you have an arrangement now with whoever you're living with. That's great. But here's the deal, though. You're entitled to come to court and sue for damages, but you're not entitled to make it ching ching, let that cash register ring to the tune of the statutory maximum, okay? When your stuff is in the moving van and you're taking it over to the storage room, grab some clothes there. You're suing for $76, not even that much, but you're suing for $76 in clothing because you haven't been able to get to your clothing. But it's been 5 months. Of course you're getting to your clothing. And then you're suing for all of your meals, but you got to eat anyway. And you're suing for moving costs, which I am 100% with you on that. And you're also suing for what it costs you to put in another ad and applications fees. Those are appropriate, I believe.
She never contacted me to ask me, hey, Laura, pay for my moving. She never contacted me to do that.
She shouldn't have to.
At some point.
She shouldn't have to.
Okay.
She shouldn't have to.
Right.
You knew it was a professional moving company out there. You knew that you had messed the whole thing up. With not finding out about how to do things right beforehand. I'm ordering you to pay the amount for the moving company. I'm not going to order you to pay storage in August and September because I believe that the only right that you had was housing for 30 days. You didn't have a lease. And I believe that you are entitled to the $60 application fees for trying to find another place and the $42 for the ad that you put in after that. All that I do believe it, but clothes and food, that's something that you're spending anyway, and pain and suffering I'm not going to do. and because this is a contracts case. I mean, even though I know that I'm sure this was disruptive to you. I am finding in your favor the amount of $1,852. But, Ms. Millard, we have a counterclaim that you have against her for $5,000. What's that about?
Okay, Miss O'Neill stopped all the mail coming to my house. For a whole week, I didn't get any mail, which was very unusual. I went to the post office, and the postal clerk, who, understand, it's a very small little post office. He's the only guy there. And he said to me, we have a stop on the mail in your house. So I said, okay. He showed me the document, and it said, stop all mail.
All mail
well,
instead of just her
mail?
name.
So
I know exactly the boxes that you're talking about because my 18-year-old just moved from the house and she marked for the whole family. So I haven't gotten mail in about a week. But it's at least going to my daughter, so I'm going to get it. Ugh.
So I called the police. They came to the post office. He interviewed the clerk. I sent you the police report. They called Marilyn O'Neill, and she said, and the postal clerk said she was there the day before. And he said, I gave her a stack of mail. So the police officer called Marilyn.
Why is the postman giving her your mail?
Of course, it said all.
But she's not you. She's not even living there. I can just go in and change all.
She filled out the card.
No, but you're not.
Had her name.
Right, but why would they give her your mail in person like that?
Of course, it says all.
It's crazy. Ms. O'Neill, do you have Ms. Millard's mail?
No, I do not. I do not. It was handed to me incorrectly, just like you said, Judge, and I gave it back.
When did you do that?
The same
when?
Moment, the same day, within 5 minutes of receiving it from the clerk.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Is the plaintiff the victim of tenant interruptus? Let's go back into the courtroom and find out.
I walked outside. The lobby was getting crowded because of COVID. I wanted to be outside to look at the mail. I took the rubber band off. This is not my mail. I walked back into the clerk and put it on the counter. I said, you gave me the wrong mail. He just, he put it aside. That was it. I left. The officer called me. I was astounded. And I want to say, how dare the defendant actually accuse me of a federal offense? How dare you?
Well, the clerk says you didn't return her mail. That's what the clerk says. The clerk was questioned by the police, and the postal clerk says, I gave her the bundle, and she never came back with any of Ms. Millard's mail. That's how she dares.
And now my identity has been compromised, and I'm waiting for a federal license from.
Why?
Because she has my mail. Because she has my mail. There were 8 pieces of mail in there. I'm waiting for a federal license from the Department of the Treasury. I never received it. And
okay. Do you have any legitimate evidence that your identity has been compromised? Has Ms. O'Neill run out and applied for a credit card with your identity?
I don't know.
Well, then you don't have proof. So on your counterclaim, no, we're done. On your counterclaim against her, 0. Because apparently the police didn't proceed on it either because it's very hard to prove when you have a clerk who supposedly handed her mail he shouldn't have and then says, oh, she never returned it. And then you have her saying, I walked back in and returned it. So
you know what?
What amount of damages would there be? You have, then go get her arrested for the crime. See how that goes. I'm going to award her the $1,852 in damages, but the damages you're talking about are completely speculative. You cannot prove the damages you're talking about. Verdict for the plaintiff, $1,852 on your counterclaim, 0. Good luck.
So the plaintiff recovers a portion of the $5,000 she was suing for. Ms. Millard, the defendant, loses her countersuit. Ms. Millard, I gather you must have felt terrible on the day she was trying to move into the house. The movers were out there and they couldn't get in. How did you feel?
Not only did I feel terrible, I spent the whole next day trying to find her suitable housing to help her.
You must have really felt terrible.
I felt
horrible. You put her in a very tough position, no question. Yeah. Ms. O'Neill, you were suing for $5,000. You don't get $5,000, Ms. O'Neill. How do you feel about what the judge awarded?
Well, I'm glad to be awarded. I do feel that I deserve more because you know, the text messages in there when she said agree, to me that was an agreement for me to rent. She told me many things. All our testimony today was fabricated, and I'm trying to use a nice word.
All right. Let's hope it works out for you. So you get $1,852. That'll do it for this case. Let's join the judges now. Here they are.
You have no written lease. You get what we call at common law a tenancy at will, right? Which means you get 30 days.
Month to month.
And at the landlord's option, it can be renewed month to month, right?
Or whatever term the agreement was. But if there is no agreement, then it's month to month.
But certainly as a landlord, you're selling that leasehold interest in your property, and you damn well better know what you're selling and whether it's available. You can't wait until the moving truck is at the threshold and the guys are getting ready to take the furniture off the truck and go, uh-oh.
I
no.
guess I really didn't have a right to do that.
Right, absolutely. I mean, the defendant in this case was faced with a choice in that moment. And the choice was, do I take my chances with the town and getting fined or sanctioned by them? Or do I take my chances with plan B, which is just send her packing and say, hey, get out of here, I can't rent to you. And then maybe she won't sue me, maybe she will sue me. Well, she sued her to try to get the money back.
Yeah, and truly, I'm sure she felt bad, but she didn't feel that bad. Because if I had a moving van in front and I knew that I had cost somebody that kind of money, you know, I would try to work with them to figure something.
Well, the third option was to let her stay there for free, I suppose.
Well, yeah, you wouldn't be in contravention of anything if you let her stay there for free, but I guess that kind of defeats the purpose.
Right, and then the whole mail nightmare. Well, you've been through the same thing.
Yes, exactly. Right. You and I have been through this.
One day the mail didn't come at our house, and then the next day there was no mail, and the next day...
And then I called the post office and was indignant that it was some mistake, and then the post office asked me, who's Sophia Schlesinger? Yeah, so I knew which kid it was.
Well, federal offense.
Federal offense for Sophie.
So Amy wants to know this. Hey, Harvey, if you were in a relationship with someone who let you borrow furniture and then asked for it back 2 years later after you broke up, are you required to give it back? Here's the thing. If you tell them, come pick up your furniture, and they just don't do it, and you've waited 2 years, at a point it becomes abandoned. But you should say to them, look, if you don't pick it up within, give them a reasonable period of time, a month or 2 weeks or whatever, then I will consider it mine and I'm probably gonna either get rid of it or sell it. You can do that. But if it's not abandoned, usually 2 years is within the statute of limitations for something like this. And if they demand it back, you really don't have a legal claim to it if it's not abandoned. So remember this abandonment thing, because you should take steps at a point to tell them, pick it up or else it's mine. And if it's mine, I can do with it whatever I want. We'll see you next time.